The lady behind the counter glanced up from the paperwork, blinked twice, and looked back down at the signature line like she needed to double-check her own eyesight. "Ma'am," she said slowly, "this house is legally yours. Nobody, not your husband, not the realtor, nobody else, is on this title." Exactly what I needed to hear. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. I wasn't just being emotional like my now-vanished husband. Chase kept trying to tell me the morning he disappeared, with my dreams, my credit, and apparently my dignity. Let me take you back to where this whole nightmare started, because this wasn't just some affair. This wasn't just a betrayal. This was a setup. We'd been together for 6 years, married for 4, and I really believed we were happy. We were living in a rental in Spokane Valley, Washington, saving up, following a 5-year plan that Chase created on one of his infamous whiteboards. He was the planner, the spreadsheet guy. Every dollar had a category. Every month we'd sit down and do our budget. I play my part. I cut coupons, packed lunch, said no to drinks after work. He told me we were almost there. Couple more months, he'd say, and we're putting 20% down. Then in April, he said we were ready. "I found us the perfect house," he said, grinning like a kid who just won a video game. "It's in West Central, older place, but remodeled. And get this, it's got a sunroom. I love sunrooms." That was the first trap. Second trap was when he said, "Our realtor's a beast. Her name's Raquel. She flips houses on the side and knows all the tricks." Raquel, the woman who would later take my house keys, my credit, and my husband, and then post photos with him on Instagram like I never existed. We toured the house on a Wednesday. It was beautiful. Modern kitchen, white quartz counters, original hardwood floors. I cried in the upstairs hallway. It had that "we can grow old here" feeling. We made the offer that night. Full price. Chase said it'd help us close fast. He told me it was best if we ran everything through my credit. "Your score's higher," he said. "Mine's got those old student loans. Don't worry, babe. It's all our money." I signed. I always signed. Chase handled the logistics. He was good with paperwork, real estate lingo. I just focused on making sure the moving boxes were labeled and that our cat, Pickles, wouldn't freak out in the new place. We signed the mortgage papers on a Friday morning. I remember because we went to brunch right after. Chase ordered mimosas. He toasted. "To new beginnings," he said. By that evening, he was gone. No text. No call. No note. His phone went straight to voicemail. I thought something happened. I called hospitals. I drove to his best friend's house. I even DM'd his cousin in Portland. Nothing. Until Sunday morning, when I drove to the house and saw the locks had been changed. My key didn't fit. I knocked. No one answered, but the lights were on upstairs. I looked through the living room window and saw a pair of heels I didn't recognize sitting next to the couch. Raquel's heels. I know because I complimented them the day we toured the house. "Steve Madden," she'd said. "Last season." I called Chase again. This time he picked up. His voice was calm. Too calm. "Hey," he said. "Where the hell are you?" "I'm at the house." "Our house." "No, sweetheart. My house." I swear my body went cold. "What are you talking about?" I asked. "It's in my name." He laughed. Actually laughed. "Jen," he said, "it's just business. You think I was really going to tie my finances to yours? You used my credit exactly. You're the liability, not me. You're good for paperwork and down payments." That's it. I stood there frozen on the porch, hands shaking. "You changed the locks." "Prove it," he said. "Go ahead. Take it to court. Let's see who wins." Then he hung up. Call to action. What would you do if your partner used your name to steal a house? Drop your city in the comments. I want to know how y'all would handle it where you're from. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you're hooked, because trust me, it gets worse. I wasn't about to let him walk away with everything I built. This man weaponized my trust. He planned it. Raquel was never just our realtor. She was his partner, in more ways than one. But what he didn't know, I still had every document, every screenshot, every email thread, and that tiny sole owner line on the deed. That was my weapon. He underestimated the quiet girl who clipped coupons and packed lunch. Big mistake. The next morning, I walked into the Spokane County Recorder's office like I was walking into battle. My hair was pulled back tight, and I had a 3-inch binder clutched to my chest. Inside, every piece of documentation Chase never thought I'd collect. Emails, mortgage papers, loan application screenshots, and texts where he specifically said the house would be ours. The woman behind the counter, Marcia, blinked when she saw the stack I plopped down. I pointed to the line again. Sole owner. That's me. She nodded slowly, then looked up with something that almost resembled a smirk. Looks like you've got yourself a squatter situation, she said. Squatter. The word hit me like a sledgehammer. My own husband, a squatter in my house. I asked her what I could do. She said the sheriff's department handled those cases. So that afternoon, I filed a report with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. They couldn't evict him immediately. It's not like TV. There's a process. But when they saw the paperwork and the title in my name, they took it seriously. They scheduled a visit for the following Tuesday. But I didn't wait. I needed more than legal validation. I needed ammo. So I started digging. First, I looked up Raquel. Found her brokerage online. Her agent license was valid. But guess what? Her flipping business wasn't registered in Washington, which meant she wasn't legally disclosing any business interest in property she showed. Big no-no. Next, I checked the property history. Raquel had purchased the house 6 months earlier for $140,000. We bought it for $210,000. She flipped it for a $70,000 profit to me, her own boyfriend's wife. Let that sink in. She used it to funnel money into her own pocket, all while smiling and calling me girl during showings. It was fraud. I contacted the Washington State Department of Licensing and filed a formal complaint. I included the screenshots of her Instagram post from the week before. Her and Chase holding up a sold keychain in front of MY House. Caption, from partners in business to something more kiss mark. That same day, I emailed the photo to her brokerage's ethics board with a note. You might want to vet your agents better. Then, I went back to the house. I wasn't trying to break in. I was just watching. Waiting. I parked down the street in my friend Danny's Corolla. Around 6:30 p.m., Chase and Raquel pulled up together in her Audi. They kissed in the driveway. He had the same smug look I used to love. Now it made my skin crawl. I snapped photos, video, date, and time stamped. Raquel wasn't supposed to be living there. She wasn't listed on anything. That was important. Tuesday rolled around. Deputy Jensen showed up just after noon. I was nervous. I thought Chase might try to lie his way out. I'd seen him do it to others. How he'd smile, play innocent, make people second-guess themselves. But not this time. When the deputy knocked, Raquel answered. She was wearing one of Chase's shirts. Novada. She had no idea I'd be standing behind the deputy, binder in hand. Ma'am, Jensen said, is your name on this title? She looked confused. Oh, no, but I live here. He nodded, then turned to Chase, who had just walked into the hallway, shirtless, and eating a bowl of cereal like this was a Saturday morning cartoon. Sir, you're not the legal owner of this property. We have verified the deed is in Ms. Klein's name only. Chase's smirk dropped. Hold on, he said. There's got to be a mistake. I paid for half the... Do you have any documentation to prove ownership? Chase looked at me. Jen, come on. Don't do this. I said nothing. Just handed Jensen a laminated copy of the deed. Raquel tried to speak up. But we live here. Jensen looked at her flatly. You're not on a mortgage or lease. That makes you a guest, which means you need to leave. They were given 72 hours to vacate. And that's when things got really messy. Because the next day, Chase filed a restraining order against me. Claimed I was harassing him. Said I was unstable. Dangerous. And the court gave him a temporary order, which meant I couldn't go near my own house for the next 2 weeks. You'd think that'd break me. But no, because while they were playing legal games, I was building something else. A digital trap. I created a private Google Drive folder titled Operation Scorch Earth. Inside, I stored every document, every shady text, every clip from their public Instagram stories that showed them living large in a house they didn't own. Then I emailed it, anonymously, to Raquel's brokerage ethics board, again with more proof. Her licensing agency, her mortgage lender, Chase's employer. Oh yeah, he was a financial advisor. Emphasis on was. And I saved the best for last. I contacted a local real estate attorney, one who loved making headlines. I told him everything. He took one look at the binder and said, let's ruin them. We filed a civil lawsuit for real estate fraud, unauthorized use of credit, emotional distress, property theft, and identity misrepresentation. It was about to go public. And Spokane's real estate world was about to catch fire. 2 weeks later, I walked into court like I was walking onto a battlefield, with my lawyer by my side and that same binder under my arm. Only this time, it was heavier, not just with documents, but with fire. The temporary restraining order hearing was first. Chase was there, of course, in his nice guy costume, khakis, button-up shirt, no tie. He looked like the kind of man you'd trust to watch your dog for the weekend. He told the judge I was unstable, that I was harassing him and his partner, and that I'd shown up uninvited, banging on doors. He said I was obsessed, that I couldn't accept the breakup. But then my lawyer stood up and calmly handed the judge a printed packet of screenshots, photos of Chase and Raquel in my house, holding up wine glasses, throwing a backyard party 2 nights after I'd been locked out. Then we handed over a copy of the property title. The judge barely blinked. "Mr. Trent, this property is legally titled in Ms. Klein's name. You were the one who removed her from her own home. She had every right to be there. This restraining order is denied." The fake concern on Chase's face cracked. Just a little. I saw the twitch in his jaw when the judge said my name. Next came the lawsuit. That part didn't move as fast. It never does. But we filed. And that filing alone had enough weight to crush a few reputations before it ever reached a jury. A week after court, Raquel's license was temporarily suspended by the Washington Department of Licensing pending investigation. Her brokerage dropped her like a hot potato, and someone leaked the story to a local real estate blogger. That article made the rounds fast. Local realtor under investigation after selling home to boyfriend's wife. I didn't share it, but I sure watched the comments roll in. Spokane's a small place, and Raquel had made enemies. Apparently, I wasn't the only one she'd guided into suspicious deals. 3 more women reached out to me on Facebook. One said Raquel convinced her to waive an inspection and then disappeared when mold was found. Another said Raquel offered to fast-track her loan approval through a guy she was dating. Guess who that was? Yep, Chase. But this was about more than a breakup, more than a love triangle. This was theft. So while their reputations unraveled, I was already working on my next move. The house. I couldn't just walk back in and pretend it never happened. They'd been living there for weeks. Who knew what they'd done, what they'd taken? So I waited for the eviction window to close. I showed up with the sheriff. Raquel and Chase were gone, but they left a mess. Wine stains on the hardwood, pizza boxes, a broken sliding door lock, and every cabinet in the kitchen had been emptied. No dishes, no silverware. Even the shower curtain was gone. But they missed something. In the back of the master closet, behind a stack of old paint cans, I found a USB drive. Just sitting there. I didn't think much of it at first. Thought maybe it was a forgotten backup or some music files. Nope. It was the jackpot. Because on that drive were scanned documents. Chase's documents. Real estate forms, loan agreements, and a handwritten journal entry labeled plan. I opened it, and what I read made my stomach turn. Raquel thinks I should wait until closing to ghost Jen. Less heat. Gotta keep her credit clean till we get the house. After that, it's a reset. Raquel wants to list it in 6 months. Quick flip. I'll keep the 401k. They were planning to resell the house. Make a profit. Off my name. My credit. My trust. I sent it straight to my attorney. That's when everything changed. Because now, we had intent. Their lawyer. Yes. Chase finally hired one, called mine 3 days later. Offered to settle. I said no. I didn't want quiet money. I wanted it all public. Raquel filed a motion to dismiss. Denied. Chase tried to claim he had contributed financially and deserved equity. The judge asked for proof. He had none. They stalled. Delayed. Tried to bleed me dry. But what they didn't know was that I'd gone nuclear behind the scenes. Remember Chase's job? He was a licensed financial advisor. And it turns out, using someone else's credit to apply for a mortgage without full consent violates a little something called the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority Code of Ethics. I filed a formal complaint with FINRA, and I wasn't the only one, because I wasn't the only woman Chase had played. Another ex of his came forward. Turns out he'd done a similar stunt in Portland 5 years earlier. Different woman, Different house. Same scam. He'd never been caught. Until now. FINRA launched a full investigation. Within a month, license revoked. And Chase fired. Oh, and the best part? Raquel's brokerage, after dumping her, filed their own suit. Said she violated internal policies, misused her position, and damaged their brand. So now, she's being sued too. But I wasn't done. I had one last card to play. The house was still legally mine, but I didn't want to live in it anymore. It was tainted. Every hallway whispered lies. Every corner held their ghosts. So I staged it. Beautifully. I brought in a home stager, painted it soft white, replaced the shower curtain, added eucalyptus in the bathroom. I hired a local photographer and listed it at $40,000 more than we paid. Within 2 days, I had 4 offers. I sold it to a young couple from Seattle who cried during the walkthrough. They asked what made me want to sell. I smiled and said, time for a new chapter. I took the profit, paid off the remaining mortgage, and walked away with a clean slate. Free. Then I moved to Missoula, Montana. New town, new job, new everything. And Chase? Last I heard, he was couch surfing in Spokane, trying to land investment clients on TikTok. Raquel moved back in with her parents. Justice? No, it was revenge. And I made sure they felt every inch of it. I didn't think I'd ever hear from Chase again. Honestly, I figured he'd slither away into some other scheme, maybe find another woman to con. But 2 months after I sold the house, right when I was settling into my new apartment in Missoula and finally sleeping through the night, he texted me. Not an apology, not even a real message. Just one word, congrats. I stared at it for a full minute. No emojis, no follow-up, just that smug little breadcrumb, like he wanted to remind me he still existed, that he still thought he was in my head. I didn't reply, but I did forward the message to my lawyer, just in case. Then I did what Chase never could. I moved forward. I found a new job at a regional bank downtown. Lower pay, sure, but less stress. No high-stakes real estate games. No commission-hungry vultures pretending to care. Just honest work, steady hours, and people who kept their hands to themselves. I even started dating again. Slowly, carefully. Montana men are different. More boots, fewer lines. No one asked me what my credit score was on the first date. But just when I thought the dust had settled, life tossed me one more twist. It started with a knock at my door. Middle of the day. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened it, and standing there was a woman, mid-40s, tired eyes, holding a folder. Jennifer Klein? Yes. She handed me the folder. You've been served. I froze. What is this? Preliminary discovery notice. Chase Trent is contesting your defamation claims. I couldn't believe it. After everything he did, he was now accusing me of defamation? Inside the folder was a stack of legal jargon. But the gist was this. He was trying to sue me for damaging his reputation, career, and emotional well-being by spreading false information. False? I had proof. I called my lawyer immediately. He laughed. Not a joyful laugh, an exhausted, these idiots never quit kind of laugh. This is a bluff, he said. He's tried to intimidate you into dropping your suit. It won't hold up. Still, we had to respond. Legal battles are like quicksand. The deeper you go, the more time and money it eats. But I didn't back down. Instead, I gave my lawyer the go-ahead to expand our claim. Not just damages, but punitive damages to make an example out of him. And that's when the real bombshell dropped. Through the discovery process, we subpoenaed Chase's financial records. We thought we already knew the worst. We were wrong, because it turned out Chase had been funneling small amounts of money, monthly consulting fees, from my mortgage payments into a separate bank account under the name of a fake LLC. Guess who was listed as the primary contact for the LLC? Raquel. They hadn't just stolen my house. They'd been laundering money from a mortgage, money that I was liable for. That's when my attorney contacted the FBI. Yes, the FBI. Because mortgage fraud, wire fraud, identity theft, that's not just a civil matter. That's federal. Within a month, Chase and Raquel were both under formal investigation. I got a call from an agent in Seattle who asked me to walk them through everything. I spent 3 hours on Zoom, laying it all out. Every lie, every form, every shady withdrawal. By the end, the agent said, "You've done most of our work for us." It didn't stop there. A grand jury was convened. Chase was indicted. So was Raquel. And when the case hit the news, again, this time on a bigger scale, I got another surprise. A letter, mailed to my apartment. No return address. Inside was a single page. Handwritten. From Raquel. I never meant for it to go that far. I was in over my head. Chase told me you didn't care, that you were just a placeholder. He said you were cold. I believed him. I am sorry. I read it twice. Then I fed it into the shredder. Apology accepted? Maybe. Forgiven? Never. The federal trial took 6 months to build. During that time, I went about my life, got promoted at work, adopted a second cat, joined a hiking group. I didn't let them live rent-free in my head anymore. And when the day came for court, I didn't even need to testify. The evidence spoke for itself. Guilty. On multiple counts. Chase was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. Raquel got 3, plus 2 years of supervised probation. They both lost everything. And me? I got a settlement check that covered every dollar they stole, plus interest. But that's not the part one treasure. The part I'll never forget? Sitting in the back of that courtroom, watching Chase get cuffed. He turned to look at me. This time, no esmirk, just panic, like it was finally dawning on him. He'd lost to the woman he thought was nothing but paperwork and down payments. And I hadn't even broken a sweat.